All right, last lesson for this assignment is talking about exponents again, which is something we've been talking about. Okay, we want to talk about exponential form versus expanded form. So let's start off really easy. Let's say I just have x cubed. That's exponential form. If I have that in expanded form, that's just x times x times x. Okay? Let's now consider I have negative 2x cubed. Now, that doesn't mean that both of these are being cubed. That means I only have the x being cubed. So I still have the negative 2, but it's x that's being expanded 3 times. Now, let's look at this. This is different. Let's say I have negative 2x cubed. Now this is going to be negative 2x over and over again. Negative 2x times negative 2x times negative 2x. One last scenario. Let's say I have this. The negative on the outside. The negative now is not being cubed. So it's only going to show up once. But I am going to have 2x multiplied by itself 3 times. So these are 4 different examples of how the exponent is going to be on different parts of the expression. Let's try a couple more examples. Let's say I have 4y cubed. Well, that means both the 4 and the y are actually being cubed. Let's say I have negative a squared. In this case, the negative is not being squared. Only a is. So I have negative and then a times a. However, if I have this, then I'm doing negative a times negative a. So that's a key difference there. Now let's do one that's a little more complicated. Let's say I have 2y squared and x minus 3 cubed. So what do I have? I have a 2. Y squared really means y times y. And x minus 3 cubed means that I have x minus 3 times itself 3 times. So that is its expanded form. All right, let's really quickly run through the properties of exponents that we've talked about. First of all, anything to the power of 0 equals 1. So, exponent properties you need to know. Exponent properties you need to know. Anything to the power of 0 always equals 1. Okay? The next thing is that if I have negative exponents, so let's say I have 7 to the negative 2, that's the same thing as 1 over 7 to the positive second power, or 1 over 49. What happens if I raise a fraction to a negative power? Well, I'm going to flip that whole thing, and then I can make the exponent positive. And then I individually cube both of these things. 4 cubed is 64, and 3 cubed is 27. All right, a couple other properties. If I have 2 powers multiplied together, or a power to a power, or let's say I'm dividing 2 powers. When I'm multiplying the powers, I add the exponents. When I do a power to a power, we multiply the exponents. And lastly, when I divide the powers, I'm going to subtract the exponents. So this is 1 over x to the 1. Let's say it was the other way around. Let's say I had x to the 4th over x cubed. That would just be x to the 1st. So those are the properties that you need to know for sure moving forward. All right, one last thing, just a couple of exponent properties. Let's say we are going to simplify. 2x cubed times negative 5x. Well, I can do 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10, and x cubed times x is x to the 4th. Because remember, these are all just being multiplied together. And according to the commutative and associative properties, it doesn't matter what order we multiply things in. So I could move this totally around, and I could say I have negative 5 times 2 times x cubed times x. And then you can very clearly see that this is going to give you negative 10. And then what do we have here? We have x to the 4th, 4 x's all multiplied together. And that's what gives us our simplified answer there. Negative 10x to the 4th. All right, let's try this one. A, b to the 4th over b to the 7th, all squared. So first of all, let's look inside this parentheses. Is there anything I can do to simplify this? Yes, look at, I have 2 powers of b being divided, which means I am going to subtract. I have more b's on the bottom, so 7 minus 4 means that I have b cubed on the bottom. This squared means that I'm going to square both things in the parentheses, which means I have a squared over b to the 6th. And that's it. Give the problems a try for lesson 1-5, and we'll see you back at school to check everything over.